Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, Vincent.
Hello,
Yeah, we
hello.
can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, hello.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I see it's quite early today. Okay. Um, okay. So I think there's a bit of background noise from your side, Dada. So um yeah, I'm sure it's fine though. Okay. Let's get started with today's lesson. So first, I'll be going over last week's homework. So I'm assuming that everyone did it. It was not very long. Yeah. So let's start. So the first position was like this, and I'm just gonna like put the tokens with pawns. So draw the fastest way for the piece to take all the pawns, essentially. And this is just a test to see basically how well do you understand like piece movement. So I'll just restate one more time. The queen moves like this, right? All directions and any amount of squares. So the queen basically has unlimited movement unless it gets blocked. So the way to take these pawns the fastest is you essentially you want to find like the shortest way to take them, like to get to any pawn the first. So here, if we think about it, the queen right now, it can go to here. And you take, and then you take, and then you take like this. This is the fastest way. It only takes three moves. And you can't get less than three because you can't take two pawns in one move. So that makes sense, right? Right. And then the second problem was this way. Again, is to see, do you see this like long diagonal? This is very common in chess. You'll have pieces on long diagonals, and sometimes, it's very easy to miss them because they're very far away. But pieces have infinite range in chess, so you have to be careful. The fastest way to take all the pawns is you take this one first, and then you take the one on e7. So you should be fine. And then we have this position where it's like your goal is just take a pawn on every move. So uh, I think there's a okay. Okay. Um, your goal is to take the pawn on every move. So you can see if we take this pawn first, now we can attack this pawn and this pawn. So we go like this and we can capture all the pawns in four moves. Right? This is the most efficient way because again, you cannot take more than one piece in one move. Okay? And then last position is like this. Um, you go make sure you don't take this one first because you'll realize if I were here, I can't take this one. And same with this one, right? I can't take this one in one move. So you want to actually take this one first and then take this one and then this one. So it's like a little bit of pathfinding problem solving problem, but I'm sure you guys had it down. Um, Now for the rook. The rook I know is slightly simpler because the rook can only move like vertically, right? So let me draw the rook out. So again, your goal is to how do I take a pawn every move? In this case, you take, kind of like a spiral outwards, and you end up taking all the pawns. And the second problem was like this. The pawn is here. There's pawns like this. You go up, all right. You take all the pawns because you have range. You go take, take, and then you can have um the next problem was like this. You can take like this, like in a spiral. Again, for these problems, it's not necessarily about like, It's just about like thinking, getting used to like how the piece moves. It's not necessarily about like real strategy. This is not like nothing that'll ever happen in chess, but your goal is to just like think through the eyes of the piece is what I'm trying to get you guys to do. And in this case, again, you take a pawn every move and you can take all four in 4 moves. So that's very good. Okay, now we have the actual puzzle problems, which were a little bit more complicated. So I'll actually have you guys answer with what you wrote on your uh with what you wrote. Um, Let me set the board up though. And I can give you guys feedback, or if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them right now, since this is a good opportunity to like, check your understanding about Laxwi's topic. So it was this position and white to move, checkmate in 1 move. Okay. And yeah, I'll give you guys a bit of time to think about it. But again, I just want to reiterate our one mate in one problem solving strategy. So firstly, what you're going to do is you're going to look at Black's king. Where can Black's king go right now? The bishop controls these 2 squares. This bishop controls this square. The pawn controls this one, and our king controls this one. So Black's king is essentially stuck. So now, how do we deliver a check that blocks all of Black's escape squares and delivers a check? That's how to checkmate, essentially. So I'll give you guys time to think about this if you didn't already. And if you did, I'll give you guys like time to answer. Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any ideas? You can like, sorry, I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I think there's too much background noise, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But I will show you guys the, um, okay. I'm not sure what he said, but I will tell you guys the answer. So yeah, I think I'll just go over the answers to the homework. So in this case, the answer is queen to b4 check. And this check, it essentially, because Black's king cannot move right now, if we were to deliver a check that he cannot stop, that makes it checkmate. So this is checkmate in 1 move, and very simple. Okay. Sorry, I just gotta. Okay. Um, and then the next one is like this. I believe this one is even more simple than the last one. It's the most basic kind of checkmate we talked about at the start with like this. You can see White's queen can just go up here and do like it's kind of in his face, like in his face, and you can checkmate him because he's blocking all of the squares. There's also this one, which is slightly harder. This one I'll actually give you guys like another minute to think about. So if you have any ideas, um, um, I'll have you guys say them, but if it's like noisy over there, you can also type it in the chat. And I don't know if you guys can like access the chat, but it's like Zoom feature. And if there's like noise or like anything that's stopping you guys from like answering, you can always like type it in the chat and I will definitely respond. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give you guys like a minute to either think about this or, remember the solution. Yeah. Any ideas? Hmm. I don't think we've covered this piece or like in very much depth. So I'll tell you guys the how the knight moves. The knight moves, just to recap, it moves like this in kind of like two up, one to the side, or two to the side, one up kind of motion. So in this case, important squares that the knight covers is this one and this one. So those squares are where black's king cannot go. So that's my hint. I'll give you guys another minute to solve it, and then I can also go over the answer. Yeah. If you guys have like any issues hearing me or anything, make sure to like speak up because it's kind of bad if you can't hear me. I can turn my microphone on. Okay. I don't think there's much. So yeah. So um I'm sorry. I can't tell what you're saying. Could you try typing it like in the chat? Oh, I see you typed it. Wow. Sorry, I missed that. So yeah, the answer is rook to g1. So I'll explain why. Firstly, black's king is trapped right here. The rook controls these two, the knight controls these two, the king controls these two, these three, I guess. So the king is trapped, number one. Two, it is under attack, it's in check. And number three, you cannot get out of check. So that makes it checkmate. So this is very good. Yeah, so this is quite a hard puzzle because it's kind of open and it's not like very clear what like the way to proceed is. So actually good job on solving it. Um, let's talk about our final homework problem of the week, which it looks like this. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like this. Again, white to play, and again, I'll give you a minute. This one might probably simpler because it's um with only like rooks, no knights and stuff. Okay. I'm not seeing a lot of ideas. So this one's pretty simple. You see, oh, okay. So one idea is pawn to d7. This looks good. First of all, it looks really good. We will see one, the king is trapped, right? All these squares are protected. Two, it is check, but it fails our third clause of checkmate. It's that the king can't get out of check. In fact, this rook can take the pawn. And if you were to take back, king takes back, and now it's no longer checkmate. So yeah, so very nice try. I want to say it's a very good idea, but you are definitely still winning after this. But there's a mate in one, and I'll tell you right now, it's similar. The king is trapped by itself right now, so we just need to deliver a check. And the way we can do this is rook takes c7, and you can see check, and everything is trapped. So this is checkmate. So this is a very nice checkmate, actually. It kind of makes use of like the king's own pieces. Sorry, the king's own pieces to make sure that it can't run away. Okay, so that's our homework for this week. Um, if you guys are unsure about anything or have any questions, when this video is posted to YouTube, you guys can like look at it, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment on it and I will try to my best to respond. Yeah. Or you can send me an email or ask like your TA or ask during class like right now. Anything is fine. Just make sure you ask the questions. Okay. Let's talk about today's topic, which is knights and bishops. So let's start off with the bishop. Actually, let's do a quick review of how every piece moves again. It's very quick. Queen moves all directions, diagonally, horizontally, vertically, etc. Rook, vertically, horizontally. Bishop, diagonally only. Knight has this weird flower pattern. Pawn only moves forward, but can also capture sideways. It cannot move sideways, it can only captures. It can only move here if something is here. And finally, the king, all directions, but only one square. Okay, that's our quick review. Let's talk about more in depth about these two pieces now, the bishop and the knight. So let's start off with the bishop. Bishop is quite the powerful piece because you'll see it controls like all of these squares. And it's, so it's not considered strong, but it's also not weak because it controls so many squares. And what you'll notice is that all of these squares have something in common. They're all of the same color. So you see from the starting position, we start with two bishops, right? And these two bishops, they're on different colored squares. And uh, since the bishops are on, they start on different colored squares, and every move the bishop can make stays on this color, that means that I will never be able to play a move that makes the bishop change colors. And I don't mean like it turns into this like bishop or this bishop turns into like the white bishop, but it won't be able to this bishop will never step on a dark square ever, and this bishop will never step on a light square ever. You can make any amount of moves with this bishop. It'll never, ever, ever step on a light square and vice versa. Okay? So whenever you like unsure if like a move is legal, try and like use this as your first check. If I'm moving on bishop, am I moving it to a light square? Yeah. Okay. So now you know how the bishop moves. And let's just start going in depth into it then. So first, I want to talk about some specialties of the bishop. Bishop diagonally, it's amazing. And what you'll notice is that if there's like this type of thing, it's very hard for a rook, which moves like straight to like, penetrate the defenses, right? But a bishop of the right color, it basically has free reign since none of these pawns are on light squares. So what you'll notice is that whenever there's like defenses that your rook can't exploit, Usually they're exploitable by your bishop because they'll be like this. They're all on one color because they need to support each other, right? The pawns, they support each other like this. So they won't be supporting each other. Sorry, they won't be blocking the bishop if they're supporting each other. Okay? So this is the power of the bishop. And let's do some tactics with the bishop. Okay? And again, while I'm pulling up one of my tactics, I just want to go over again, like our general strategy to finding checkmates. Firstly, see where the king can move. Secondly, um, try and make a move that controls all of the king's move. Sorry, all of the king's remaining moves and delivers a check. Okay, now let's let's okay. Okay. So it's like this. Um, okay. White to move, checkmate in one move. Okay. So same strategy. Look for all the squares that your pieces control. Okay. I believe in you. You guys got this. Yeah, if you're raising your hand, I think you can just try and directly say it. Um, can you? I'm not sure. If you have an idea, definitely say it. It's okay to be wrong, but it's just not okay to not try. Yeah. Being wrong is completely fine. You guys are just starting out.
Bishop to a6.
Yeah. So bishop to a6 is the right move. And um, I want to ask someone, why can't I run here with my king? Um, let's ask someone from the Christ Medell school. Um, why is it that after I play bishop a6, I can't move my king to b8? Just yeah. So you guys are muted right now. So I'm not sure if that's intended. Okay. I That's fine. So I'll just tell you guys, there's a bishop here on h2, if you noticed, and the bishop has infinite range. So what it will do is it controls this entire diagonal, which means it controls these two escape squares. So black's king cannot like escape from the bishop, right? And thus this is an illegal move. And since it all of these squares are controlled and it's in check and it cannot escape check, this is checkmate. So yeah, good job. Okay. Okay. I have two very interesting puzzles for you guys. These are definitely, I think, easier, but it's also kind of like a concept check. Let's call it that. So white to move mate in one. I will point out something though. Currently, white's bishop is behind white's king. That means that if white were to move his king, the bishop would now be attacking black's king and delivering check. So this, of course, is the only check you can make in this position because this light squared bishop will never be able to make a check onto a dark squared. So how do we use this check to deliver mate in one move? Again, think about where the black king can move. Okay.
King to f7.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So it's king to f7, king to f7, and what this does is the king controls, sorry, this square. Bishop controls all the way down, and this bishop controls this one. So all three squares are controlled, and therefore, it's checkmate, right? The king can't escape check. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this one. Very similar. Again, mate in one, but kind of tricky. So I'd like someone from the Great Landmark College this time to answer the question, if you guys have ideas. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, Dada.
Yeah, talk, say something. I think it's.
Um,
Say something.
I heard bishop c something. So that's a good idea. So actually a very good idea. So there's only one bishop that can move to c something. So this move is bishop to c2. This is a good idea, but it's not right, unfortunately. I'll tell you why. So this puzzle is kind of like the last one, where this bishop is kind of will give check once this rook moves. Moving the bishop away right now doesn't actually give a check, but if I were playing in a real game, I would probably definitely play this move because it's much safer. You know, you're regrouping, you're up a lot of material, and it's safe to regroup before you hit again. Okay. I don't think we're like low on we're rushing in time. So I'll give you guys another minute to think about this. Like the last puzzle, um, you want to control all of black's king squares. So currently, black can go here or here. This square is controlled by our bishop. So how do you control all of black's moves in one move and deliver check with this bishop? So I'll leave you guys to think about that for another minute.
Oh.
I'll give you guys a hint, another hint. Since you have to move this rook out of the way to deliver check, it's not going to be a bishop move, okay? It's going to be a rook move.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm going to move the room to G2.
Can you speak louder? Speak louder.
I'm going to move the room to G2.
Oh, that's a very good try. I'll tell it, it is unfortunately still wrong, but it is actually really, really close to the final answer. So I see you have the idea you want to control black's king with your rook. Rook g2, very good idea. It looks like you've controlled all of black's squares, except actually right now your bishop is undefended, so black can take it.
H2, right?
Oh, did you say h2? I'm sorry. Yeah. If you said h2, then you're correct. This is right. This is right. Um, you're supporting your bishop, which blocks off all of black's king squares, and this is checkmate. Yeah. So congratulations to, I'm not sure who found it, but yeah, congratulations in general. This is a very hard problem, and this is a type of tactic that we'll be talking about actually in a couple of like 1, 2 weeks. Yeah. So it's a nice preview. Okay. Okay, and let's do another. So you'll see that actually let me do one more before I talk about it. Yeah. So this one again, white to play, mate in one, same idea. Your bishop is behind something, you want to move it to control everything. Okay. So yeah. So try and like wait a minute for any, I'll wait a minute for any ideas to come in and then or for you guys to think, and then by a minute later, I'll let you guys just take the floor with the answers. Yeah. I think you guys have it down. Okay, so I'll open the floor now. I think it's been a minute to any ideas that you guys might have. Sorry, just something wrong with it. Why are the comments off? That makes no sense. Okay, so this one is a little hard. I don't see any answers in the chat either. Okay, so I'll show you guys. So first, let's analyze where can black's king go right now? This square is controlled by the bishop, and these two are by the king. So the only square that black can really go to with his king right now is g4. So now we know our target, g4. There's actually two ways to checkmate black. Both are very acceptable. Number one, you can go knight e5 to control g4. Your bishops control this, your king controls this, black's king is surrounded. You can also go knight h6 check, and this also controls g4. Both ways control g4, and this allows you to just completely surround black and checkmate him, right? So that's very good. Yeah. So don't worry if you didn't get these, because these are definitely advanced problems. Because it's like complicated, like pieces hidden behind others to deliver checks. It's not a very like common thing that you'll see actually. But if you'll notice, all of these puzzles that I showed you always had two bishops. And I want to take a little moment to talk about the bishop pair. So in chess, we have two bishops at the start, right? And these bishops, they're very strong when they work together. Let me give you an example. If I put two bishops right next to each other, the king cannot approach these bishops. Essentially, these bishops will draw like lines. The king is essentially stuck in this box, as you can see. So these bishops are very strong. They control a lot of squares, and they also have this like niche, um, like weird movement pattern because it's not like a rook. Um, if a rook is attacking a queen, the queen is always attacking it back. But if a bishop is attacking a rook, the rook might not be attacking it back. So it can seize opportunities to like attack pieces. And if you look at it, a sole bishop is kind of weak. You know, the king can move around it. But if you simply put another bishop, sorry, if you simply put another bishop down, now it's almost invincible. You know, it controls so many squares together and they offer so much pressure. So I know you guys may not like understand why now. I will get into this in a later date, but I just wanted to show you guys like how strong this pair of bishops is. And this is like our first introduction into like more theoretical positional chess. So yeah, so if you guys play games outside, like chess games outside of class, try and keep your bishop pair because these two work really strong together. And you know they can really help you shut down the board for your opponent. Okay. Moving on from that, let's talk about the knight. So the knight is actually a source of, I want to say, most like tactics, mate in ones, you know, material wins, et cetera, because this knight is very strong. This knight is strong in one way, unfortunately. Um, it's one way that it is strong is its movement pattern, such as in like this, right? So yeah. So as you can see, the knight, unlike the bishop and basically any other piece, the knight moves to a maximum of 8 squares. That's really little. But if you'll see the knight, since it has 8 squares, it's able to go basically anywhere it wants. Like, sorry, not basically anywhere. It's hard for it to go anywhere it wants. Like if it wanted to move here, it couldn't do so. It'll have to go 1, 2, 3 moves to move just 1 square upwards. That's that's crazy, right? Okay. So the knight, it's limited in movement, but also it's kind of not limited in movement because of this weird movement that's restricting it. It's also very powerful. It can jump over pieces. It can jump over your own pieces. It's basically unrestricted in movement by like this blocking concept in chess. So this is why the knight is strong in closed positions over like the bishop. Let me give you an example. If you were to have a position like this, and you had this bishop versus this knight, and let me just close the rest of the board off like this, the knight is way stronger than this bishop because this knight, it can seize opportunity like this, you know, go in here and start messing with the queen and the pawns, right? But the bishop, it's kind of stuck behind this like stone wall. So it's getting blocked. So this is why the knight is strong. And it's very tricky because it has this weird pattern. So what I want you guys to think about when you're playing with or against knights, every move, if the knight is like close to your pieces or looks close to your king, or if it's just in like a suspicious position, look at it, think about what does it do? What is it going to do? How do I stop what my opponent wants it to do? And yeah, okay, that's my rant about knights. Let's do some tactics with them since they are very, very special. Okay, let's start off with this one. Combination of bishops and knights. They're like powers combined, essentially. So yeah, let's see. Mate in one with the knight.
No, like this, like this. I don't have to play. I don't have to play. Such a big. Eh, what's up, boy? Something I play.
Okay. Um, I can go over it. So I'm not seeing any answers. Question mark? I don't think so. So yeah, I'll go over it. Just 1 second. Let me move this. Oh, what the? Sorry. This is like screen shares issues. Okay. So let's look at this bishop. Bishop is blocking this square off. Our king are blocking these two squares off. And what you'll notice is that we have one last piece left to deliver a check with. And since this is our topic about knights, let's look at the knight. Knight has 4 moves in this position, and exactly one of them delivers check. If we were to deliver check, sorry, like this, we'd be trapping it, giving check. It can't get out of check. This is a checkmate. Okay, so yeah, the knight, it's not like impeded because the king is in its way. It kind of like moves in between squares. So it's not blocked by like any pieces, if that makes sense. Right. Okay. Let me move on. Let's talk about this position now. Kind of similar. King still in the corner, but you have mate in one. It's kind of tricky. Let's see if you guys can find it.
Pawn to B7.
Yeah, that's right, actually. Good job. You push the pawn to B7. Knight controls everything. This knight is defending our pawn, which delivers check. So the king can't go anywhere, and it's in check. So this is checkmate. Good job. Good job. Um, that was pretty fast, actually. Okay, again, similar. Let's see now.
You can move your knight before.
I think I heard it. I think I heard it. Yeah. It's a little jumbled, but I think I heard knight b6, which is the correct move. Again, it's kind of like the same controls. Our pieces block off the king, and our knight jumps in to deliver a checkmate. Okay, good job. Okay, let me see if I can find a slightly harder one. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Actually, we can do this one. This one's good. Okay. So mate in one, board's kind of open. So think about how can I control a lot of squares? How can I control a lot of black's king's squares? Okay. This one's a little bit harder. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes to think about it, compared to the usual one. Yeah. So let you guys get to it.
I'll move my queen to f2.
F2 here. Do you mean F2? Like the square I highlighted?
No, no, f3, f3.
F3. Yeah, F3 is correct. This is very good. So this position is hard because it's very open. But again, we see we need to control these four squares in one move. How do we do that? These four. How do we do that? We have one move that does it. Queen to F3, checkmate. And these knights control these two squares in the back, and the rest are controlled by the queen. So this is very good. Let me pull up another one. Yeah, so it's good to get familiar with the knight because the knight is probably going to be your strongest ally, but also your worst enemy because of its movement is just so weird, right? It just doesn't move normally, like at all. So take a break from like the hard ones. Let's do the easy ones. Okay, very simple mate in one. This one's kind of just remember how the knight moves. Sorry, box. I don't know why. What the heck? What is going on? Okay, so C7, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, that was for last one. Okay. This one's again pretty simple. Your knight controls these two squares, and the pawns control the rest. So this is checkmate if you just go knight C6, which is one of two checks that you're allowed to make in this move, right? So it's Pretty, I would say, straightforward. Um, what about this one? White to move mate in one. Okay. Um, the idea here is Black's king is actually trapped on its own right now. So you can deliver a check like this. No way to defend against it, but this just instantly checkmates. It's the only piece that can do this. And because Black's king is trapped by its own pieces, it's kind of like smothered. We call this smothered mate. And yeah, it's pretty cool when this happens. Okay. Right. So that's all the things I have prepared today. So I'll do actually a quick recap. So bishops move like this diagonally. Um, Two bishops together are very strong. Notice how bishops are usually like behind other pieces to reveal kind of a check. And these two bishops pair together quite nicely to like control a lot of squares. Knights, on the other hand, they're very good at like, moving around, maneuvering in closed positions. They're good at, attacking pieces in ways they cannot be attacked back, but they're also limited in the number of squares they can go to. Okay. And yeah, so that's it for today's class. I want to share with you guys where all the recordings are going. So if you go to YouTube and you search into this search bar, ask chess questions, you will find our class here today, Lightning Square Chess Class Cure. And you see this is our class 1. That's you
Sorry, I
guys.
didn't know the camera is on.
That's you guys. Yeah. So, I've recorded this thing and it's posted the entire lesson. And so you guys can see, like, let's say you had a question about like right here. Let's say right here you didn't understand like why is Queen E5 checkmate? So you would type in like the time. So 53:35. Why is QE5 checkmate? You can ask me this question. You can post it to comments. And then maybe in a couple day or two, I will reply. I'll say, because all the squares are controlled, yada, 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 right? And I will be able to respond to you, and you guys can get like responses very quickly. And it's also very organized here, since you can see like your own comments and stuff. Yeah. And you can also see like other people's comments. So if somebody is unsure, it's good to like, also see like a list of problems. So I realized today that like the comments were turned off. So I'm sorry if you like didn't understand that, or sorry if you couldn't like ask any questions, but I'm sure it's fine. So the comments will be turned on from now on. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Also, please subscribe to the channel so you guys can get like more views and stuff. Okay, that's my plug for the channel. Yeah, but this is definitely a very good tool if you guys want to, ask questions about any point, like, why I'm drawing all these things. So if you have any questions about this, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask because this is very important for understanding. Okay, that's all I have to talk about today. Okay, so let me close this. Okay. thank you everyone for coming to today's class. Um, you know, I'm sure it's hard right now, but I hope that as you guys like learn and grow and get more experience in chess, it'll become like natural to you. And then maybe one day you can even, play in tournaments and hopefully surpass me. So that's my goal as, a coach. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for coming. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And yeah, I will see you guys same time next week. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone.